No matter what people want you to believe, don't ever turn back on your dreams. It's all in your hands.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to 3 Degrees of Love Divination. So today I figured I would do part 2 of my last video. If you haven't seen that, my last edition of therapy and tarot, I encourage you to check that out because this would be a part 2. But as you can see, you'll notice that the cards are different. So that have been pulled. In technically in the first half here, but that's because I wanted to continue the reading, sort of from a fresh perspective, if you will, and also because, well, I have been enjoying using my cards, so, you know, of course, in between the time that I've been able to do part 1 to part 2, I've used my cards since. So yeah, also one thing that has since then that has come in for me, and that after I do this part 2, I am looking to probably put away a couple of decks after this, and that's because something new just arrived that I have been waiting so long for, but it was well worth it. And the creator, how they conducted themselves during the campaign, even what they created, like it just, you know, and I feel like there's like this personal gratitude that I have to this creator, not only for what was created, but also because they were part of my first annual Bell Let's Talk Day video that I did, and it was just funny how I stumbled across this creator and just, you know, the mindset in regards to why they created what they created. You know, was very much from a sort, you know, very much from a healing mental health perspective, you know, and anyways, and of course the person I'm talking about is no other than Murphy Pines, who is the creator of the I Am Here Oracle deck. And hold on a second. So yeah, so Murphy Pines, who is the very talented creator, mastermind behind the I'm Here 50 card deck and guidebook. So, and the bonus, This Is Me, Tell the Story of You, bonus deck that was a part of the Kickstarter. And I'm over the moon that it's here. So look out for that soon. I will be going through both decks here, and I haven't, of course I haven't used them yet, so, you know, we'll go through them together on a later video, and I'll show you what I got, and that was a part of the Kickstarter. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that when I am ready to go through this deck created by Murphy Pines, you will be alerted as to when it's uploaded. So look out for that. I'm over the moon at how wonderful this project came out. I know that there were a lot of ups and downs for many creators during this time, but even what I know as a backer about this project, to have it in my hands it's so meaningful to me, especially even the timing of its arrival. Although it's funny because actually in my friend Priscilla from Life Full of Simplicity, she just recently did her upcoming releases video, and there was a book. I don't remember the name of it, but when I find it, I'll put it up on the screen in editing. But there was a book that is coming out that she was a little disappointed because she had known she would have mentioned it in our Bellet's Talk Day video. And it's kind of, to me, it's kind of the same feeling with Murphy's I'm Here, This Is Me oracle decks. So yeah, but anyways, that aside, I am going to continue with this part 2 of my latest therapy and talk video. So okay, so getting back into the reading here. As you see, there's new cards in front of me, but it's with the same decks that I've been working with, which, just to recap, is the Heart and Hands Tarot by Liz Blackbird, the Emotional Kaleidoscope by Ruth Mado, and the indie version of This Might Hurt Tarot by Isabella Rotman. I absolutely love how they've been reading together. And so as I said previously, I was enjoying working with my deck. So I wanted to continue reading it, which is why we have a set of new cards, which I also think, for the second half, to have a sort of, fresh perspective, I guess, of what's going on, collectively, I feel like it would be a good starting point. So I'm not going to read the guidebooks on these set of cards that are here, but I will go over them with you. So we have from the Heart and Hands Tarot, we have the Three of Wands, we have the Ace of Swords, Two of Pentacles, and the Princess of Pentacles. Okay? And so when I first pulled it, it wasn't quite clear, but what I, initially was picking up on. But it was as now with, pulling from the Emotional Kaleidoscope, it's a bit of a clearer picture. And that's that's kind of, the beauty of how I read too, right? Sometimes I will, get something right away from my first set of 4 cards, sort of reading them together in a way. But it's usually by the second set that I feel is, where things become, much, much clearer. So anyways, as said before, I'm reading for the collective here. But of course, as I do so, the beauty of it is, as I show you the cards, it is your opportunity to take the messages as you see fit, to apply it to your own personal situation, so that you can do your own journaling and introspection and see how things resonate for you. Anyway, so getting ready back into it. So from the emotional kaleidoscope, I pulled, is your personality similar to the people who raised you? And with the 3 of Wands being there underneath, I feel like, this is the perfect time, because again, this is the karmic year, as the year adds up to the number of 8, and 8 being, the symbolism for infinity and of self, right? It's taking stock and planning, the idea of the shadow work, right? Where, at this time, if there are patterns in your life that, it's like taking stock of the patterns that are in your life that are very similar to those you are, were raised with. What are the reflections, sort of the, when you reflect back on your upbringing, what are the patterns, and this personality patterns, right? If you will, sort of leading it back to when I was talking about the idea of saboteurs. What are the negative karmic patterns that you see within yourself that is a reflection and similar to the people who raised you, right? And categorizing them, it's by taking stock and shedding the light on them. Can we then right? We can change with that consciousness the pattern of behavior, right? With the Ace of Swords, cutting through. It's a double-edged sword, cutting through those patterns. What were the good and the bad that I, right, self, am mirroring now? And how is it helpful, right? That's the idea of the whole, right? And which is why I encourage you to take the quiz of the saboteur with the positive intelligence, as I mentioned before. That this is something that I've engaged in, and it's been and I'm still learning as I'm teaching, and it's beautiful, and it just another enhancement to all the work, the healing work I've been doing for self. Anyways, so as we moving on with the Ace of Swords and the second card that was pulled from the emotional kaleidoscope, we have, how hard is it to create boundaries and to enforce those boundaries with people? Do you only bring up boundaries once you are upset or angry? And so here's the funny thing about this card that, you know, came up when I shuffled. It's and when it came out for me, you know, actually in the training that I've been doing with the positive intelligence, one of the things is identifying our saboteurs, you know. And this is where, you know, again, shout out to you know, Destiny from Queen Cup, and again, that you know, that beautiful connection with her reading, you know, that she recently did a live, and I happened to catch her live at the start of it, which was really cool. But and of course I will put the link of her latest one up in the description box. But at the very start of it, she and even it's in the title, she talks about the loyal stranger. And I realize even in that, while I was watching, that's exactly me. And so for me, it was about, the hard part here is about confronting, because besides the judge, right? We all have a judge saboteur. It all depends on how it is reflected, right? Based on wounding and whatever, right? And upbringing and all of that jazz. But my top one is the people pleaser. And I identified that being, right, again, people pleaser, being loyal stranger. The weight that of me doing that, and how it led me to my, you know, to the tower moment of my life, my major tower moment of my life. But there was a lot happening at once, and the amount of strength it took to even just to keep going. But anyway, but I realized that my top saboteur being the people pleaser, right? I had to confront this. How hard is it to create boundaries and to enforce those boundaries with people? You know, the question is, do you only bring up boundaries once you are upset and angry? So that's something, you know, that I had to think long and hard about, right? To think about that. So somewhere the video cut off, but anyways, so I realized that this is something I had to, you know, confront, the idea for boundaries, you know, regarding myself. And it's even funny because the course, as I said, hey guys, so I'm just gonna continue on. You're probably gonna notice that there's a bit of a sort of, is not quite a continuation from the rest of this video, just because when I was filming, I ran out of space, so I couldn't finish the rest of it. So of course this is another set of reading, but I am gonna continue with the decks that I said I wanted to continue in part 2. So we're still continuing with this part 2. I was debating on whether I was gonna refilm this entire thing or just sort of try to pick up where I left off. And I think I'm gonna I'm trying to pick up where I left off, but at the same time, this is kind of a bit of a new reading, but we are still continuing with the decks that I said I wanted to continue in this part 2. So, if you would like to take either or that you see, and I'm just going to review what cards are here, quickly before I read from the guidebook of the Reclaim Oracle for the cards I just pulled here. So I'm still, as I had mentioned before, still using the Heart and Hands Tarot by Liz Blackbird, and the Emotional Kaleidoscope by Ruth Mado, and the This Might Hurt Tarot indie version by Isabella Rotman. So the cards you'll see are not exactly the same as what you'll see at the beginning of this video. These are actually a new set of cards. So again, it's like I enjoy working with my decks, and even though I couldn't film, and I was using my cards, I'm sorry, forgive me. But anyway, with that being said, this sort of kind of gives a little bit of an opportunity for this reading to go either way for for the collective. And if as you're journaling, you're welcome to either use what was already given, or you can take these new sets. So we have so in the Liz Blackbird deck, the Heart and Hands Tarot, we have the 11th card, which in this deck is Strength, where normally in RWS it's usually the 8, it's the 8, the number 8 of the major arcana, that is the Strength card. But oftentimes you'll see in tarot there the 8 and the 11 card tend to be interchangeable depending on the artist and depending on the tarot system. So in this case here, we have it's number 11 and it's Strength, representative of strength. Which in a traditional, when it's flipped, it's actually mirroring the 11th card, which is in fact Justice. So funny enough, Justice and 11 are interchangeable according to the tarot, depending on the creator, that is, and the deck that we're using. But in this case here, it is 11 equaling Strength, but the mirror to that, if you know tarot, would be Justice. Yeah. So now, in this position, and I can't remember if this card has been a haunting card for me personally. I don't know if can't remember now. I'll have to, probably in editing I'll be able to verify that. But either in part 1 or in this part 2, but at the beginning of the video, I can't remember if this card came up and in what position. But anyway, describe your personality in 3 words. So, as I always say, for me, I am love, right? That's what I know myself to be. And 8 being the representation of self and infinity, this is, again, and it's, been mentioned before, but I'll say it again, this year adding up is the year adds up to the number of 8, which is strength, right? And if, as I was mentioning, strength, and which is 8, and the number 11 is interchangeable, right? In tarot for the major arcana. So strength, and the flip is justice. This is a karmic year. We've been hearing that, we've been saying that. That's why shadow work is important. That's why this work, this healing work, this deep dive, right, is important for us to take heed and to self-reflect and to do mirror work, essentially, right, to heal. I am love. I know for myself that has always been my greatest strength. I did not necessarily know it until the tower of my life began. So, yeah. So the question for the collective here is, what is your greatest strength? Describe yourself in 3 words. Okay? Now, underneath that, the King of Wands. The King of Wands. Wands being the suit when it comes to passion, creativity, right? Things like that. The essence, if you will, of self, right? And as in this card, as it personally speaks to me, normally the king, there, it's usually represented by a male character, traditionally. But in this deck, this might hurt. No kidding. Thanks, Isabella. We have a woman sitting on a rock by a fire, holding essentially a wand with a teeny tiny crown on her head, which actually is not really on her head, but above, hovering above her head. And to me, that represents right there it's above self. So it's like the aura, if you will. That would be the area of the aura. And it's funny, it's just a deck that comes to mind is the Power 8 Oracle, created I will put it up in the screen by Trina. And I remember she recently, her and her, because it was a dual creation, and her and a creative partner created recently Power 8 Lenormand deck, and in that, when they talk about the chakras, right, we the idea that there's an 8th chakra, which actually is above the crown. So the crown would be the top of our heads, right? And how we connect, and if you're not familiar with chakras and the chakra work, I would encourage you to really dive into that. But just to give you a brief overview, right? In as it's explained in this deck, there's the 8th chakra, which is so when we receive messages from the divine, we receive it through our crown, and then how it dissipates into our the rest of our chakras, and so on and so forth. And I can't remember what that one is called. Anyone can help me out who's familiar with that. Put it in the description box, please. But it's essentially, my understanding, for what I remember, it's the aura. So it's the chakra above our crown, which embodies that aura aspect of self, right? So yeah, okay, now moving into I meant to read the cards this way, but I somehow just, anyway, going with the flow. Guilt. And when this came out, and this as I was shuffling the cards and it came out, and this was the first card, that we have the light and the shadow. We have one character, who is essentially naked, if you will, and that being the representation of vulnerability, right? And purity. And then we have, sorry, the video cut out again. And then we have, on the bottom, we have what looks like someone wearing a bathing suit, which essentially is covered and black, right? With a scar, and what looks like an embedded branch, if you will. To me, that representing earth, right? Our roots, right? Where we come from, our heritage, and also our, when we, where we actually come from, essentially earth. We're part of the earth, right? This is our home. And, right, we have the scar, our woundings. So, yeah. Okay, so, and of course, if I may mention, everything I do, and how I read, like I said, I meant to go this way, but ended up going down. But, next we have, the King of Pentacles. And of course, when I, do these collective readings, and I give you my interpretation, of course, but also, it has the opportunity for you to be able to take, from it what you may interpret as I show you the cards too, right? And that's, and why I love the emotional kaleidoscope, right? Because we have these prompts that can help you to do reflection as you look at these cards as well, so I love this. Okay, and then so from the emotional kaleidoscope deck, we have explain how your parents / parental figure would perceive success. Yeah. Okay. Oh, come on, go back. There we go. Oops. Yes, this is... Okay. Please excuse my OCD brain as I try to fix this. Okay, there we go. Okay, that works. Okay, then we have the Ten of Pentacles from This Might Hurt Tarot, right? We've got that sort of wholesome family dynamic, Ten of Pentacles, and within it, we also see the representation of, the older generation. So, that includes, our parents, if you will, right? Or parental figure, explain, right? So the journal prompt being, explain how your parents' parental figure would perceive success, right? So, and maybe, and then this could be the image, the ideal image that they perceive, the expectation, the typical expectation for family, right? So anyways, okay. And then next we have expression. So to me, underlining the feeling that goes along with this, when we, like for me, if I'm journaling about this, right, for myself, I'm looking at the King of Pentacles, being, what is the underneath for me, in regards to, this card, the King of Pentacles, right? You can see that, this is a black and white deck, but, and I feel like this in a way is also very fitting for right now, and very powerful, because yes, this is the month of love, and it's also Black History Month. And, it, for me, how it hits home is that, to me, this shows and represents Black history, right? It's this, like I said, this is a black and white deck. And, even if we look here, we see in the Strength card, the figure is painted white, or drawn white, I should say, rather, because based on the outlining. But here, very, 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 dominatingly, if you will, as in my opinion here, and even the face looks, to me, feminine. This is again, it looks feminine. The figure looks feminine to me, and so it kind of goes with the idea of wands, the King of Wands here, and with from This Might Hurt tarot, normally it's usually a representation of a male figure that represents the King of Wands, right? But here in this deck, it's a woman. And quite frankly, looks to me like a colored woman. Okay. A woman of color is the representation here of the King of Wands. The King of Pentacles, again, looks to me like a feminine black woman, is the representation here of the King of Pentacles. Explain how your parent/parental figure would perceive success. And then we have 10 of Pentacles, and we have a colored family represented on this card, no less. Expression. From the Reclaim Oracle, we have expression. So how the individual, the generation, the present generation, feels they've been able to express themselves, right? How does that, the freedom to do that, or or how you felt, received the acceptance, if you will, is it in line with what you, the individual, wanted versus what your parents or parental figure would have perceived success? How does that compare? Does it differ, or is it in line? With one another? And the question is, if it does differ, was the feeling of freedom to express the truest nature in line with the individual's desire and ability and openness? Okay. We have two, and don't worry, I am going to read the book on the Reclaim Oracle. So, two, the High Priestess. That's from the Heart and Hands Tarot. And we have again, the question, if you will, which, you know, is that of the subconscious. We have conscious and conscious. Yep. Okay. And then a question for the subconscious now. Has there ever been a time where someone has imposed their needs onto you? How does this affect you? I would even say, or slash did, right? You know, let's look at the, you know, both sides to that. Okay. Okay. So, 6 of Wands. So, right, we have celebration. You know, there's various people, if you can tell who is there cheering on and celebrating what seems to be the main figure in this card, right? Happy, cycling along, you know, and receiving that celebration for self, right? 6 of Wands. And then we have, from the Reclaim Oracle, we have resilience. How we, you know, how do we regain and rebuild ourselves how do we continue when what looks to be broken, when we look to be partly broken? And to me, you know, that's, you know, here it's like both sides. It's both you know, how we, the resilience, how we move forward and how we're guided to move forward. In the essence of what has happened, resilience, celebrating that. But the opposite side is that as much as we want to celebrate, right? When we are to me, this is you know, is kind of that sort of ego card, you know, what we and how we, after, you know, as we interact with one another, as we, you know, heal from, you know, what we feel we've lost maybe, or that has been, you know, not as we expected it to be, or may have felt like, you know, we've disappointed, you know, our family, or we were perceived to be that way, right? How do we come back from that when we feel a piece of us is missing, when we've lost? And then how do we then interact now moving forward with other selves that probably have probably have some of their own pain, right? We again, this is, again, trauma talk. And then, to me, this screams, as I'm reading this and the resilience, this to me screams triggers, right? How we then move forward based on past experiences. How then, when we interact with this kind of this ties into part 1. Now that I'm remembering, there was a card from Emotional Kaleidoscope. It was a question card. If I remember, I will slip it in there, but I can't remember exactly what was on it, but it was talking about how we respond to when we feel we've been challenged. That was what it was, right? So to me, when we perceive how, right? It's, celebrating, others and seeing others as self, right? And how, just the same way that their wounding can have effect on us, we also recognize that our woundings can affect others as well. And that sort of understanding too, based on how we've chosen to heal, essentially, is how we I just lost my train of thought there. Well, sorry. Do we take our pain and use it as a weapon, or do we take our pain and use it for good and celebrate, and then have that as a guide to knowing, to heal, that healing is important. I digress on that. Anyways, moving on. So we have the 8 of Pentacles, right? So again, 8 being the representation of self, Pentacles being the representation of, material goods, right? As you can see, right, we have a gathering of pentacles already here, right? So there's 7 and they already are on display, but we see that one is being worked on still, right? There's still a part that's being worked on. To me, this again, I feel speaks to, like, I'm picking up on the idea when, of self and how we present ourselves in the world. And I'll tell you also why that sort of come up, besides the fact that the pentacles here are actually in front of what looks to be a curtain, like a opened curtain call, and then sort of beyond, we have this center which looks like a sun. So to me, it's that outward presentation, right? Our self, our personality, how we present ourselves to the world, that include, all our accomplishments, but we're all works in progress, right? Because in human form, no one is perfect. Right? So, okay, so then we have, Can you articulate the difference between coping mechanism and defense mechanism? So kind of, going back to, what I was saying, and how our actions affect each other, and, the understanding of, and why shadow work and healing is important, because the idea of the law of karma, right? What we give is so we shall receive, and how we receive and what we receive, it can influence us both consciously and unconsciously, and how we choose to then give, which then, based on the law of karma, is going to impact what then will cycle back towards us, right? So that, again, breaking karmic cycles, breaking karmic patterns, and, doing that deep dive of self to really unearth, what needs to be worked on, what needs healing, what needs cleaning. Because it looks like the hands here are cleaning and polishing this pentacle. And again, 8 being of self. So we're doing this of self for the betterment of ourselves and each other. Right? Can you articulate the difference between coping mechanism and defense mechanism? Trauma patterns. Again, it screams saboteurs to me. The things, uncovering and unearthing to heal the parts of ourselves that aren't serving us and each other. And we either fall into one of these categories based on our woundings, and how we, and then having to find that balance. Because technically, to me, if I'm reading this and I'm answering this because it's a question, I would articulate the difference between coping and defense is really just about the light and dark of self. How do we fall into the fight or flight, freeze or fawn, right? When the trauma patterns, which would include things like, so the idea of fawning is that that person sort of gives in to for survival, right? They will surrender for the sake of survival, as opposed to fleeing or fighting, right? A defense mechanism. So, the controller versus the people pleaser. Right? So, yeah. The empath versus the narcissist. I just heard. That was just something that just had to come out. Anyways. "21, the world." Right? So, yeah. 2 + 1 = 3. Just saying. And attachment. We have attachment here, right? From the Reclaim Oracle. All right, so let me read from the guidebook. So first, guilt. All right. Guilt. Guilt is a heavy loaf on my shoulders, a devil I used to be. It is the ache in my skull when I poke at the memory. I didn't love the teacher, but the lesson was good. I didn't know before. I was fooled. Guilt is the voice that whispers in my ears that I do not deserve to breathe. It is the blaming hand, the dull ground under my feet, cold and accusing. Wow, okay. Expression. Expression. Expression is telling the truth of who I am and what I want and what I feel. It's putting on a show to inspire the world. When I breathe, it blooms and glows. It grows. My silence is my grave. My power is my voice. It's turning all the lights on in a quiet house. The pentacles look like lights, bro. Sis. Bro and sis. Okay. Okay. And yo. Bro, sis, and yo. Yeah. Okie dokie. Resilience. Resilience is knowing that life is made of lessons and each one must be cherished. The more I learn, the closer I get to putting my perfectly imperfect self back in my body, perfectly imperfect body. A body that is brave and knows that trying and failing is more valuable than failing to try at all. Amen. Okay, and attachment. The things we value based on our experiences, what we were taught, our values. Those, our accomplishments and those we gain in this 3D world. What we give and we receive. What we receive and then choose to give. Attachment. Okay. Oops. Attachment. Attachment is rooted in the fear of losing everything I dare to love. It's merging with a feeling to the point of losing touch with my true identity. My things and I are bound so tightly that I cannot tell them from me. My pain and I are bound even tighter. Losing it would be losing me. Oh. For those of you who have loved and lost, in love, in life, in body, in spirit, I send my love to you. I can feel it all. When they say hurt people, that's why healing is important. When we let our darkness consume us, it's a dangerous game we play. That is why shadow work is so important. That's why I push and talk about mental health the way that I do. Everything we do in this life has an impact. We are connected. We are all one as a whole. So when we wow, and I haven't even gotten to the Lilifers tarot yet, guys. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, so you see, like, this is what I mean. Like, this is when yeah, okay. So I guess I'm wow. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna use the Lilith Tarot now. The first one, the first edition. Thank you very much. Okay. Ooh la 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 la. By the way, the way that I shuffle, and I purposely do this in for most of my cards, just because I think after a lot of use, depending on how you shuffle, especially if you're a riffle shuffler and you like to bridge your decks too, like I do, over time, I find that, sometimes they can, and depending on the card stock too, it can definitely, bow one way or the other, depending on the kind of shuffler you are. But so what I like to do when I do shuffle, plus it's why sometimes I feel when, especially when I'm reading for myself, of course, you're not really gonna, because in editing I'm going to speed up the shuffling, of course, but I find that the shuffling is also very therapeutic with for me. It's not just about the hands, but the sound of the shuffling too. It's sort of very soothing in a meditative sort of way. Anyways, so I tend to alternate the way that I shuffling and cut my cards. But so how I tend to do it is, okay, not like that. Well, okay. So I will alternate between face up and face down, right? So, yeah, just to sort of even it out so that it doesn't, I try to minimize the bowing as much as possible if I can. Anyways, just a side thing there for those of you that find that interesting to know. Okay. Greatest for the greatest and highest good of all humanity. Alright. We have what I believe is the, hold on. Oh, the Seven of Pentacles. So we have the Seven of Pentacles. We have the Fool. Okay. See, clear all that you need to see today, Father God, for our greatest and highest good of all humanity. We have the, what is this? Yes, the Six of Wands. We have the Six of Wands. On the Six of Wands, how we celebrate each other. How we see one another. Do we see each other as equals, or do we allow our ego, based on our traumas, affect us and how we interact with one another from generation to generation, and the understanding of the law of karma and why healing is important. Once again. Okay. Oh, love. Love. Okay, calm down. So we have the Two of Wands here. The Two of Wands. Yep, what's coming? Underneath the deck, we have the Eight of Wands. Oh, sorry, the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles, sorry. On the Eight of Pentacles. Okay. Well, not on, because like this is the bottom of the card, but yeah. What we don't see coming. What we sow, we shall reap. Okay. Alrighty. Oh yeah, let me read from the guidebook first. Okay. Before I go on to Liliford number 2. So yeah, the guidebooks are different in both editions. So in the first edition, of course, you know, I think I showed this. Did I? In my previous video, maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, there were some errors in the guidebook. So Marianne had also sent this along with some of the corrections on it. So, and I was about to say some, as you know, with the essence of what at the time maybe was noticed. So I'm not 100% certain that there is anything more to have noticed, but this is the first edition after all. And like I said, the guidebook has been updated. So, now it comes like this, as opposed to the sort of the, staple bound. It's, bound, I guess, if you will. And the paper stock is definitely different. Yeah. So, and we have color images in the guidebook now, as opposed to not having any images at all in the first edition. So, anyways, okay. With that being said, let me read the book here. So we have the seven of Pentacles. Okay, so the minor arcana, and all right. Suit of Pentacles. I feel like I just need to read this. Pentacles stand for the magical self, materiality, the physical realm, financial matters, transition, manifestation, the third dimension, element, earth. All right. Seven of Pentacles, upright. Efforts paying off, harvest, reward, profit, nurturing, patience, manifestation, first evidence of success. So, the essence of who we are versus the person we've become. Right? We are the sum of our parts and our doings and our very existence, right? Generationally speaking, too. But even as we progress, to present, the person we've chose to be in this life. All right. So, Zero the Fool. This is a major arcana. Major arcana, Zero the Fool. Element air, planet, Uranus, stone, agate, adventurine, tourmaline, herbs, cedar, granium, peppermint. Affirmation: with each day, I am offered new choices. Upright: innocence, new beginnings, spontaneity, unconventionality, leap of faith, trust in the universe, the inventive self, choice, the realm of the possible, opportunity, potential. Reversed: recklessness, risk-taking, naivete, obliviousness, extremes, perceived punishment, delaying choices, impulsivity, emotional instability. Okay then. So how we present ourselves in the world, the expectation of our parents' expectation of how we should express ourselves. How not even just, I'll take this a step further and not just say our parents, but the generation before us, if you will, society, right? Okay, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. 6 of Wands. So back to minor arcana. Okay. 6 of Wands. Upright: victory, public recognition, good news, success, reward, progress made. Yes. Reversed: excess pride, fall from grace, lack of recognition, punishment. All right. All right. So the reflection and how we, the good old, what you give is so you shall receive. Equality, acceptance, love, divine love, even. Universal love. Right? The duality, the cycle, the infinity. Which is why the choice to do unto others as you would desire for them to do unto you. That's the power of love. That's how we evolve. Excuse me. So when we operate and our choices are influenced from a place of pain and unhealed trauma, right? Our conscious choices as well as our subconscious and unconscious choices that we make, time and time again, is so the cycle will continue. The way to break that is through the confrontation, the healing, the shadow work, of our actions and the influence of those actions and where they've originated, how we can then make conscious efforts to change, to make that change for the betterment of ourselves and each other. That's how we will build successfully healthy attachments. To everything within our existence. Okay, so we have Two of Wands. Two of Wands, upright, making plans or decisions, leaving home, new ideas, movement, productivity due to collaboration, success after struggles, being aware of competition. Reversed, playing safe, fear of change, inner conflict, poor planning, indifference, listlessness, unexpected news. Okay. Okay. Where am I at? Okay. So I'm going to leave it there because I know this is going to be really long already. And I'm going to do a part 3. And in part 3, I will continue reading with the Lillifer Tarot number 2. And the Disorder Tarot of Innocence. I want to thank you for being here. If you really enjoyed my content, the light went out because if you enjoyed my content, I would really appreciate the like. Please share and subscribe because, mental health, therapy, shadow work, all of this to me is so important. I talk about love because, wholeheartedly, I know that's where I come from. That's where I go back to, that's what my heritage, my profession, my education, all of that has taught me. And, my experience, my everything that I've had to endure, to date, it is just the confirmation to, what what I know to be true, my truth and my strength. And that comes by way of my faith. You know, not the religion, but the spirituality, the truth, and through my pathway, my connection to that, which, you know, it just makes up the, you know, everything that I know myself to be, which is love. You know, and as a proud Black woman who has endured what she's had to endure to date at 41 years old, I know what I'm saying is my truth, and is how I see the truth. In all of it. So believe me when I tell you I feel it. And why I'm committed and will always be to what I do. Because, you know, this is February, it's the month of love. I am claiming, as I said, February 14th as my rebirth day, my phoenix rising, if you will. Here I am, world. My name is Alana, and I am love. As a proud Black woman, I see myself as love. And as I see myself, I see you. We are all human. So if I'm love, so are you. Please. As I try to take care of you, take care of yourselves and each other. And until I see you again, stay safe and always live, listen, and learn. I love you. Bye.
Gotta love, gotta love, gotta